Hello, you're listening to Otaku Super Animecast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined here with Chris.
Yo.
Today's episode is a discussional podcast episode where we talk about the news that seems important to us, dive into our community, answer some great questions from our community members, and then say goodbye. If we can even get to the community, because it's obviously been a long time since we've done a discussional, and a lot of news has happened. Now, we're not going to cover all the news, because that would just be a long thing where we talk about 3-month-old news, but there is some really big news that I want to get to discussing and find out Chris's perspective on, even though a lot of these will talk about it before the podcast. So it kind of kills it. Like today, he literally watched my video talking about the whole incident with Crunchyroll and Funimation. And yeah, that kind of kills that surprise that I can't leap onto Chris. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. Chris watches my videos. Bless you. But yeah, as per usual, we're at otakuspirit.com. That's where I can go for our links, social media links, ways to get a hold of us, all that good stuff. And yes, ways to support the channel through Patreon, tips, links, all that kind of stuff. If you're on YouTube, you can become a member of the channel. You can super thank us, all that kind of stuff. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. I don't think I'd change the order, but I might skip some of the stuff that I have on the docket here. But let's talk about probably the biggest news in 20 years. Do you know what it is, Chris?
I haven't the slightest clue.
What in the last 20 years happened that is the most exciting thing ever?
I haven't the slightest clue.
Type Moon. It's
yeah.
finally bringing over Fate Stay Night, yes, during the 20th anniversary event, which I like that. I like how because the event exists, we get a reminder about how long it took. It took 20 years for them to go, oh, maybe we should release Fate Stay Night over there. You know, this Fate thing's pretty popular. We should probably bring it over there. And they finally are doing it. Of course, this will be the Vita version, but changed. Of course, the Vita platform, PlayStation Vita platform, they put Fate Stay Night on it. Of course, because it was a game console, they took off all the naughty stuff. And they also put the opening was done by Ufotable. And then they obviously up-resed everything, better quality. They adjusted the story so that it made better sense. They did a lot of improvements to it. That's the version they're going to do translations of and then bring it over to Steam and Switch. So 2024, that's the year. Again, 20 years later, we're finally getting it. I'm excited. I don't know that I'm going to be jumping to play it or anything, or because I have literally a whole bunch of other ones that I haven't done yet. But I'm definitely going to pick it up just to show that support. But that's the weird thing. I posed the question when I talked about this on a video. One question is why now? Why after 20 years? But it is one of those question marks of you done failed because who's going to buy it at this point?
Right.
Like anybody that wanted to play it had 20 years to go, you know what? I don't think they're ever going to bring it. I'm going to go ahead and get a fan translation and read it that way. And so, yeah, I think the diehard fans are still going to buy it, but I have a feeling this is going to be one of those cases where it doesn't sell. And then they go, look, we told you. And it's going to be like, no, you didn't, because you literally took too long to actually put it up. I don't know. I hope that it sells well.
Well, I mean,
I just don't see it selling well.
It's the same argument that we had when we were talking about Spice and Wolf. It's like when they were doing that big old huge tome of all their things, and they were re-releasing it, and it was like,
and 1 million figures.
It's like the iron is hot now. Do it now, and it's one of those. In one hand, you have these certain points in which you can see a glimmer, and you're like, I don't understand why this is free money. You're just leaving this money sitting there on the table. Why are you not grabbing it? But at the same time, it's like, I guess I can understand to a point how businesses move at a slower pace than other things, but I don't get it.
Well, it's funny because Clannad obviously proved to them that this is a market, and that people over here want visual novels. And once Clannad happened, it felt like this massive swarm started coming in, and all these titles are coming over. And that was like the last one. That was like, I mean, me as a not visual novel fan, not like I'm big into them. I struggle to even start them and finish them. I've literally only finished one of them, and I've finished 2 routes in Clannad. I try and I get sidetracked. They take a lot of time. They take a lot of time. And that's probably why they think that it doesn't exist over here. Cause it's like, well, they're not patient enough. Yeah. They're not patient enough to read these things. They're not going to buy these things. But yeah, again, it showed that sign that there was a fandom over here, and people wanted to support this stuff. I mean, yes, they can get the fan translations and it works just fine, but they want to support this stuff. And thankfully, finally, like Aniplex started getting into it. They started doing their releases on Steam, and it's like, but you still have that one over there. And the bigger shock is that you have a franchise here that prints money. It prints money. The thing's blocking it. It prints figures, and people buy this stuff. But that was like the same thing with like Fate Stay Night or the Fate Grand Order. It's massively popular worldwide. Where's the original? Right there. like you're selling everything, Fate. What about the original? I mean, Afootable's doing great with the releases of like all these like Unlimited Blade Works and Heaven's Feel. It's like, hit that. I mean, the fire's there, and it's pretty darn hot. Either way, I'm excited for it to come around. So it's fine. It's happening. I can stop complaining, but again, I'm just kind of afraid it's just not going to sell, unfortunately.
I don't. Now that I think of it, now that you've pointed out the others, I don't know. I don't think it's quite as dead as a franchise as you would think.
Oh, I know it's not dead, obviously, because the stuff's still selling like crazy. It's selling like hotcakes. It's just, like I said, it's just more of an aspect of again, anybody that wanted to read it by now read it. And so I fear that it's just not going to sell. The only hope is that there's a lot of super fans that are going to buy it no matter what, even if they've read it 50 times. And then the people like us, obviously, we never read it. We never read it. And probably never will, because I just don't have the time. I never have the time. Plus, it won't have Ilya's arc. It won't have the Ilya route.
It never did.
The Ilya route that never existed. Yes, thank you, Chris. Let's move on. Let's talk about another shut-in NEET show that's coming over, Chris. Are you excited?
Sure.
We have another shut-in NEET show. For some reason, I started living with a NEET Kunoichi manga is getting a TV anime adaptation. Is it playing? Yeah, it is playing. Okay. The manga centers on Tsukasa, a normal salaryman who was attacked one night by demons and is saved by a genius Kunoichi named Shizuri. Sorry. In her off time, though, Shizuri is a lazy otaku NEET. Tsukasa and Shizuri end up living together, and with Tsukasa using his homemaking skills to pamper Shizuri as she continues to serve as his bodyguard. Okay, that's more interesting than I thought it was. I just seen the PV, and it shows like nothing really. I watched the PV, and it's like, this is really not showing much of anything besides a bunch of girls, and then suddenly she's lazy in his house. I don't know, like, I guess we're continuing this trend of lazy otaku NEET characters that are super cute that everybody goes, I'll pamper her. Like the otaku elf, I'll pamper her. It's like a continuous thing. But yeah, that makes more sense, the idea that I'm guessing he's going to continue to get attacked by demons. Or maybe he gets attacked by demons once, and then she claims that he's going to get attacked again, and uses that as an excuse for him to have to take care of her. Like getting free food from him, claiming that he's going to get attacked again. I don't know, it could work. I don't know, it's got a good style to it. It's got like lush colors and everything like that. Hopefully it turns out to be a decent show, but these lazy otaku character shows, I always come in with like massive hesitation. Like expect nothing.
All that Andrew was thinking is, oh no, it's another gremlin girl.
It's another Umaro-chan. Yes. Exactly. Chris knows me too well. It's almost like he's my brother. But I mean, that is the case. Like with the Otaku Elf, it was literally, I came into that going, I'm going to expect nothing, and I end up getting surprised. So we'll see if this one does it. She's cute, so I won't put it past her. I won't put it past it or her. We'll see. This is kind of a sad bit of news. I haven't even covered this in a video, so this is fresh for Chris. MediaOCD has acquired AnimEigo. It's time to put what's the term? Hang up your hats for that. It's the closing of another company, pretty much. For those who know, AnimEigo is a company that pretty much did most all their stuff through Kickstarter. So what they would do essentially is they would get a license for like a really old brand anime, like a beloved franchise like Riding Bean or Gunsmith Cats. All these older anime that were fantastic OVAs back in the day. But obviously most companies these days are afraid of picking up the license for them because there's a lot of risk there. You buy an old license and you make a Blu-ray copy of it and nobody buys it because it's so old, nobody cares about older stuff. So he was kind of changing things in the idea that he was going, okay, I have this license. Here's a Kickstarter. if it funds, I'll make Blu-rays and give y'all some really fantastic Blu-rays. And he was kind of the same as Sean Kleckner. I felt the two of them, which is, by the way, is Robert Woodhead. Robert Woodhead and Sean Kleckner, I felt, were very common in the idea that there's these older gentlemen that were in the anime industry that loved these old titles, and they were essentially trying to bring that love and passion to create a release for all the fans of it. And it was just more of the idea that, obviously, Sean Kleckner had a whole company behind him. He did Kickstarter as well, whereas Robert just kind of made that his cycle. He would make a Kickstarter, say, here's the product, this is what I'm going to make for it, buy it if you want it, if you don't buy it. And he would get the Kickstarter would end, and he would send everybody their packages. And it was, I think, pretty much a two-man job. It was Robert Woodhead and his wife, Natsumi Uika, or Uiki. Sorry, I'm said that wrong. Uiki. And what was so great, again, was that passion. I mean, I got easily Gunsmith Cats. Another one up here, I forget what it was. I've gotten, like, I think 2 or 3 of his releases. Loved every single one of them. He did a fantastic job of it. But like I said, this is like with Sean Kleckner, it's another case of, I guess that's another loss there to all the fans, is another, and I don't blame him. It was just like with Sean Kleckner, it's the same with Woodhead. They literally want to retire. They're doing this because they want to retire. But there's still that fear there, because just like with Sean Kleckner, with Right Stuff and Nozomi Entertainment, right here, it's the same thing. It's the same message where they go, AnimEigo is basically selling off to this company, MediaOCD, and they're going to keep continuing to help them with current, past, and future projects. And they're going to make sure that everything's fulfilled still. But, so it's like one of those little, nothing's changing. But at least with this one, they're literally saying, we plan to retire. So they're probably going to go away. My guess is that MediaOCD is going to take on that cycle and that project and take all the licenses, obviously, and start doing them themselves. But it's still, again, I'm happy for them. They sold. They're going to retire eventually, you know, sell off into the sunset. But it's still, again, it's another one of those cases of, like, it still makes you sad.
Yeah.
It still makes you sad because you're kind of losing something like that. I'm not sure if you're ever, how much you dive into AnimEigo.
I didn't.
There was a few of his releases that I never did pick up, and I wanted to, like, talking to a video. I need to get that before. I need to get that now. I have fears that MediaOCDs are going to do something different with it. I don't have anything against MediaOCD. Don't get me wrong. They've apparently worked with Discotek, and Discotek has got a lot of stuff that I've really enjoyed from them. I don't know exactly what they've done with Discotek, and they've also done a lot of productions of discs for Anime Unlimited, NIS America, and 11 Art. So they're a good company, but you know, sometimes it's hard to trust new wigs coming in and taking over. The new owner, like, really quickly, like, made this new logo for AnimEigo and everything. It's like he's super excited about picking up the property, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm just sad. Again, it's just another staple in the industry that's kind of just selling off in the sunset. But it is what it is.
I mean, it's you're looking at the old anime versus the middle-aged anime versus the youth anime versus the kid anime. So
yeah, it's like I think about it. I think there's just like the crew that's with Discotek. I think that's the last of our, you know, company ownership groups of people that are still. I mean, there's still the guy that gosh, I forget what he works with. There's like 2 companies left that still does releases of anime outside, like, the big shots like Sony and stuff like that, that are like the older crew of anime fans that are, you know, the ones that were back in the days of, you know, having to copy VHSs and all that kind of stuff to get their anime. And I think once they're gone, it's just going to be the new generation of streaming and no ownership. Which, that's a topic here soon. Should we just jump in? Let's just jump into that. It's a good segue into it. Ownership and all that kind of stuff is hot button topic today. But yes, Crunchyroll, obviously. Well, Funimation sent out emails to everybody, and they made a post somewhere hidden on the Funimation's website that, yes, they're closing their doors of Funimation on April 2nd, despite the fact that they have not transitioned over 200 anime titles and uncut anime over to Crunchyroll yet, and they probably never will. But yeah, that was, of course, a big misinformation being spread that they were increasing the price of subs for Crunchyroll, which that was a partial lie. The truth was that a lot of Funimation users had grandfathered in prices So if they had a sub for like $5 a month and they had like an annual plan that was automatically renewing, Funimation basically said, okay, you can keep that price, but everybody else has to go up. If you're a new subscriber, you got a higher price. And they kept grandfathered in that really low price, but eventually, now that they're transitioning over to Crunchyroll, they're like, we're going to move you over, and then after your annual price went away, you're going to be in the Mega Fan plan, which is $99.99 a month, or a year, sorry. And people blew that up thinking that was everybody's $79.99 plan annually. It was going to go up to $100. Wasn't the case. It was just those that were grandfathered in over Funimation were going to get a price increase. Anyways, now the thing that I attached to that obviously was a big issue is all of the ownership of digital goods from Funimation that people may have had on their catalog is gone away. And I hate to say I told you so, but that was one of my predictions back in the day when they first talked about merging everything over to Crunchyroll. That was my prediction. They are not going, because I think at the time they said, we're currently looking at our options for digital ownership. So if you have something in your catalog that you own, that you can download and watch whenever you want from our site without a sub or anything like that. It typically comes with your Blu-rays. If you buy a Blu-ray, you'll have like digital code to watch on Funimation whenever you want. That catalog that people might have of their ownership with the big quotations, those are going away. And sure enough, they announced there, sorry, we don't have any options for Crunchyroll, so you won't be able to access your catalog after April 4th or 2nd. I have two different Aprils on my screen right now. Now, that was the initial talk, and of course that blew up. Obviously, people are quite upset about it. And it's one of those things where, and I'll get into it in a minute, I assumed that when Crunchyroll first was going to merge everything over to Funimation, they probably looked at that and said, how much traffic are we actually getting for people to submit their codes and access those movies and those TV shows? And they're probably like, one person a month. Like, they've probably seen that not many people are actually using the digital versions because they have a Blu-ray. Why would they go to a website and download it when they have the Blu-ray? And the obvious answer there is that for people that are on the go or whatever, and they don't want to bring a Blu-ray player with them. But they probably seen there wasn't much traffic there, and they said, this is not profitable for us to keep doing this. Plus, me thinking from a business standpoint, you go, okay, well, I have a company, and we're going to close this company, and it has this one feature in this company where people can access these owned Blu-rays versions of their stuff whenever they want. And it's going to cost me how much to move that system over to Crunchyroll platform, then integrate all the accounts that have those attached to it, and then have a player that plays that only for them. There's like a whole ecosystem and a whole system they have to create around people still accessing that stuff. How much that costs to do that? Well, it costs this and this and this. Don't do it because only this many people is accessing it. It'll probably blow over. Nobody will care. It's in the terms of service. We can cancel it whenever we want. Just cut it off. There's no point even bothering. Now, the sad thing about that, and the way that I argue, now, I guess I can get into it, but here, today, I made a video about this yesterday as of recording, or as the posting of this podcast, but I can't remember his name, Purini, which is the president of Crunchyroll, got on a podcast with Verge, and there, the guy basically confronted him about this whole fiasco, about people being upset that they're losing their digital ownership. And he goes, essentially, what are you guys doing about this? And he says, well, when people contact us, we're working with them in order to give them an equal value for what they're losing. Which meant, basically, and when the guy pushed him, that could be giving them access to it on a different platform, which I argued that would be a great thing. I mean, you have, like, Ultraviolet is a company that they work with on a regular basis for a lot of the Blu-rays. You have, PlayStation Network. Sony Pictures Entertainment has plenty of avenues to supply digital ownership Blu-rays and stuff like that. They do, not Blu-rays, but videos on demand, all that kind of stuff. So they had options there. And the guy's like, well, what do you feel about digital ownership? Would you trust to buy something from a platform? Well, I'm different because I'm in the industry and I know how the terms of service works, and I understand that when I buy something, it's an investment that probably won't be there forever. So I'm different. I understand that most everybody else doesn't understand those terms. It's like, well, at least you're admitting that you understand that your website, Funimation.com, literally says You can play this forever. And the company didn't go out of business. The company's still there. Sony's still there. But your site says forever. Read the terms of service. And the terms of service says not forever. So you have a contradiction there. Why is it surprising to you that people literally don't know that it doesn't stay there forever when your site says it's there forever? I mean, this like brings up that whole massive discussion about, you know, obviously digital ownership and that you don't actually own what you buy when it's digital only. I mean, video game nerds have been dealing with this for the longest time. We've always had, I'm saying nerds by myself included, we've been dealing with this for a long time. eShops go away. Sony, PlayStation shops go away. They all go away eventually. But now it seems like this discussion is increasing with, you know, people in just video and general use of Blu-rays and stuff like that, that something's got to come up. Like something has to happen.
You know, as crazy as it would seem, I think it would take something like Amazon going under.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something big enough that everybody will look at it and go, this isn't all it's cracked up to be. Because Amazon is known for having those digital only. You can buy
Video.
you know, all of Game of Thrones, and it's there forever.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely for like video or video games, Steam, or even Epic Game Store.
Yeah.
One of those.
Something big enough that it would step on enough toes that everybody will question and wait.
And push these old farts in politics to understand what the hell we're talking about. All these people, all these old politicians going, what? What are you talking about? Digital Blu-ray? What? I have a VHS at home. Yeah, and that's the problem with is understanding that this is an issue.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, when me and Andrew, we get kind of crapped on for our stances on certain things where it's like, because I'm in the middle-ish. I absolutely understand Andrew's arguments in a lot of cases with this stuff, but at the same time, I have my Switch and it's full of a whole bunch of digital purchases. Why? Because I'm stupid, and I want to throw my money out to the wind.
And it's convenience.
Yeah, it's the convenience factor, I guess. And but I do understand it, and I absolutely know full well I am literally burning my money, because if that company, God knows, we're talking about Nintendo, but if Nintendo randomly decides to end the Switch's service, all of my games are gone.
Just like the Wii U.
Yeah,
because that's the thing that bothered me is because like
Wii U was recently, wasn't it, or was it 3DS?
Huh?
Was it just last year 3DS, or?
I know Wii U went down. Because that was like a big concern that I had, is that the only game that I play on Wii U anymore is the only game that I really badly want to move over to the Switch, and that's Xenoblade Chronicles X. And when eShop went down for that, the concern there is that there is a quick loading patch that you can download from eShop that you can put on your console to make everything run faster, and I think it even has language options. And it's like, well, that's gone. That feature's gone. Now it has to run off disk. It's going to load slower, all that kind of stuff, because they had to shut down the shop. And it's like, again, that's not a buy, but it's an expectation of support. When I bought it, they said it's there, and so your expectation is that it's going to be there. That's the problem. I mean, that's the same thing with these Blu-rays right now. It's like literally you still have and even Pudini says that, and I think it's kind of like, gosh, dude, you're just kind of trying to make people angry, aren't you? He literally says like, now let me be clear. These are when people buy Blu-rays, so they still have the Blu-rays. There is a code on it where they can access it on the website. And I agree. That's a good argument. It's not necessarily that they're losing their Blu-ray, but still, it's on the box. The box says, watch it whenever you want, offline, wherever you want, without your Blu-ray. It's an advertised thing on the front of it. I mean, it doesn't say on there, for a limited time, you can watch it on the website whenever you want. And again, the website itself says, forever. I'm going to keep hitting on that, forever. But again, it's interesting because Funimation losing this catalog and people losing access to these titles, you can argue is not a big deal. It's not that many people. And that's what I'm thinking Crunchyroll's hoping will happen, is that there's not enough people upset about this, so it's not going to matter. But again, it got people talking. And why? because this is a hot button topic. This idea, because just literally, what, not even 4 months ago, they tried to take down all the Discovery stuff. Was it Discovery from Sony's platform?
I don't know.
Sony was going to take down like an entire like channel of people's bought shows off of their platform, and people raised hell, and they reversed it. And now it's happening again, and everybody's going, it's that again. And I think that's what caught the bigger public was, hey, they're doing it again. We need to stop this kind of stuff. This needs to stop. And again, I understand from a business perspective, I see why they did it. I just can't, from a moral standpoint, agree with it. And additionally, on top of that, I can see it being this is something they can technically avoid, because the mindset is nobody's redeeming them and nobody's using the service, so we should stop it. But that's not understanding the concept of ownership. I buy all these Blu-rays, but it's not like I sit here and watch them on a daily basis. They're there for when I want to watch them. That's what ownership means. So when it's a digital copy on your platform, it's not that because I didn't access it means I don't need that service. It's because I don't want to watch it yet. Because I own it and it's always there, I'll watch it when I want to watch it. That's what it means.
And that puts it into a bigger and more complex conversation in the fact that while Funimation in itself is closing its doors, Sony is not. Crunchyroll is not. And that is
Funimation goes bankrupt, and then I would understand. Like, well, they've been bankrupt. Who's to argue? It's not like it's not like they're going to go, well, the whole company seizes, and then now a government official has to stay in there 24/7 for the rest of your life to make sure your stuff keeps loading.
Yep.
Sony bought them, and they still exist. And Sony has these services. They have the platforms to do it.
They're probably using legal loopholes to get away with
terms of service.
And it's terms of service, but in the fact that technically Funimation closed. Okay, that's it.
Could you imagine if the only reason they had Funimation merged with Crunchyroll and closed Funimation is because of that? Like, they're going, okay, we don't need both these sites. We need to merge. Because remember when they bought, they said Funimation bought Crunchyroll. So your assumption there is that Funimation was going to take all their catalog and delete Crunchyroll. But it's like it's a dumb side of me. I wonder if they were like, but we really want to get rid of this stupid feature. How can we do that? Let's shut down
I think that it was. We did point out that it seemed we were expecting that Crunchyroll was going to be the one that was swallowed, and it ended up being.
Yeah, and that was mainly because Funimation was known for like One Piece. It was known for Dragon Ball Z. I mean, it had a brand that's been around for much longer than Crunchyroll, and plus it doesn't have the stigma of like, well, it used to be a piracy site.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they got rid of Crunchyroll, they can finally put that to rest? Because of course this whole controversy right here is going to bring the same people back. Crunchyroll used to be a piracy site, by the way. It's like, yes, we know. We know. We know. Everybody knows. You're not telling anything. It's just the funniest thing, and I didn't include this in my video that I made. The funniest thing that came from that conversation is I missed this before I recorded. At some point, the guy, and I give Verge the credit, by the way, not used to journalists actually pushing the questions. I know he didn't keep pushing, but he didn't push too much. But he did push. At some point, he did point out, that people don't read the terms of service. He's like, yeah, I understand that people don't read the terms of service. I'll still buy this stuff, but I understand the terms of service. And I'm like, yeah, you understand that underneath that line that says forever, I'm going to keep bringing that up, is the terms of service that says not forever. But yeah, at some point he literally asked him, like, would you trust these companies and actually buy something? And he literally said, well, I like the convenience of it, so I would do it. But I understand the system. And it's like, you're literally admitting that that people don't understand it. And you're taking advantage of that. Like, it was a prime example of one of these big corporate heads that literally know what they're doing, and they know that there's a confusion. And again, most people that are savvy about tech, they know this stuff is not going to last forever. But the problem is there's people that still do. And what was it? Recently there was a conversation about video games and ownership and digital ownership and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was around Xbox and everything. But that aside, it was this mindset of like, I think it was somebody with one of the companies was saying that people should get used to digital ownership not being ownership or something like that. And I know it was misquoted to death, but the point still remains is that there is this mindset that when somebody goes to buy something, there is an expectation that they own it. And why is it that they're that expectation? It's because forever, since the beginning of man, when you went to the market and you bought something, you owned it. You didn't go home with your object and then a few minutes later, suddenly somebody takes it. It's never been that way. And I would argue that if it comes to a point where, yes, I understand that servers can't stay up forever. It's never going to stay up forever. A company's not going to stay in business forever. But there should be something like a compensation or maybe an offline version that you can download. Like, why couldn't they do that? We'll take your thing, we'll make a list of it, and then we'll contact you and say, here's a download link, you can download all these shows, and you can keep them. But they can't do that, again, because technically their licensing probably won't even allow it. So even Funimation can't even do something like that, because it would probably be illegal for them to do that per the licensing agreement that they have with the owners of the property. So it's all dumb.
This discussion has been going on for surprisingly a long time. And I want to say that the first time that it really came into its full forcefulness, because I mean, a lot of these companies have been debating this idea for a long time. I remember, I want to say the first time I ever heard it was on, because some of these, especially gaming companies, have been trying to go to the satellite side, to the digital realm for a long time. Microsoft's been pushing this for a long time. Microsoft literally, I don't care who you are, Microsoft desperately wants to be your central hub. You go to them for everything. They've always been wanting to do that. But
except for games now. Apparently they're getting out of exclusivities.
They're not getting out of it. They're just figuring out a different way. They've been desperately. That was the whole thing of not everybody, for some odd reason. I want to say it was what was that company that was before Roku? They used to be on your TV. It was a basically you got the internet on your TV, and that was the first time that a company tried to do what basically Roku ends up doing, and then Microsoft's seen it, and they were like, no, that's our space. And then you see the Xbox come out, and then
no, it was the Windows Media version first.
Well, there was one before. There was one before,
which was
Windows.
Basically what made Xbox.
Yeah, there was one before that actually connected the internet. It was when we were kids. So I mean, they've been trying.
Nintendo did it.
Nintendo tried to do it as well. No, this was God. I wish I could remember. XTV or something. It was literally a box, and you just hooked up a keyboard, and you could actually surf the web from your
Grandma.
TV.
What else?
I know, right?
Continue. Don't make me put you to sleep.
You're
Grandma.
distracting me.
Move on, Grandma.
No, my point is that
your kids don't know what you have these days. You all complain about the fact that your app for High Dive doesn't work, but back in my day, we used to have to dial into AOL. I love that announcer. You got mail. I got so excited. I'm like, oh, much my
I got mail.
I got mail, yeah.
The funny thing is
I cannot believe Grandpa used that all the way until his death. He's still using AOL. I'm like, oh my gosh, you do not have AOL, do you? You do. And he had broadband. He was still using the AOL browser. Rest his soul.
The most recent, I want to say the biggest push and pushback would have to have been Xbox and their attempt at going discless. I
remember how that blew up in their face when PlayStation legit within 10 minutes made a video of them handing somebody else their disc. You could share your games on PlayStation. It was like, how quick Xbox backed that up. That was crazy.
They
because they were all like, you had to have an internet connection to run any game if it was on a disc. It was like, whoa.
And that my point being is that these companies are all trying to shift themselves to this place. There is a cost value that is involved in doing this. They don't have to worry about the manufacturing of the discs, the cartridges, whatever have you. It is in their benefit to go in this direction.
Yeah, and they control the pricing. They don't have to worry about the retailers themselves doing the, what's it called? There's like a, it's not manufacturer suggested retail. There's like a min amount that they're allowed to go to. It's not, I mean, I think the wholesale is the term for outside of there, but I think there's an internal value that, like, I've heard that, like, especially like TVs are big on it. Like, if you see a big sale of a TV on a sale or something like that, that's an approved sale they can do where they don't lose money. Obviously, they're also doing it so they can bring in customers to all that kind of blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I can see that as well. And that you bring up a good point in the idea that, yes, I do believe that they're all trying to move to this. But I think with Xbox specifically, I don't know, we're getting into a gaming discussion, but I mean, it's all about digital. Xbox, I think what they've done is they've somehow managed to pivot into a subscription system that is working extremely well for them. And this is why I agree with the idea that I think they're getting away from exclusivities and I think they're getting away from consoles, is because if they can get Xbox Live on PlayStation, they're still making money. Yep. That's all they care about. If a company can if PlayStation can get away from doing PlayStation consoles, they would do it. Microsoft does not want to make a box. You have a PC.
I disagree.
As long as
I disagree.
But they're making so much more money just by every month people are paying into Xbox Live. If they can do that and they still make their money, why not?
Let me expound.
Let's be honest, the Xbox consoles now are literally just PCs that they're just trying to make sure that people keep getting their live. And I think they're getting enough on PC. The moment they moved it to where it was across both the Xbox and the PC, it took off from there.
Let me expound.
Expound?
Expound.
Expand?
Okay.
Is expound?
No,
it is
expound.
It is expound. Okay, sorry.
How did Microsoft corner the PC market?
Businesses?
By getting themselves on every machine all over the place, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what...
They were in early. There's not like they were fighting to get in everything. Well, I mean, the Linux folks are still fighting. I mean, there's Windows still.
It's out there. It's out there somewhere.
It's coming back, Chris. Windows is coming back. Don't you laugh.
My point is that
Windows also Chrome. Cornered. Oh yeah, that Chrome OS. Sorry.
Windows cornered the market by literally putting themselves on literally everything. So it doesn't matter what kind of machine you have. It doesn't matter what parts you have. You just wait. Microsoft OS on the refrigerator. It's coming.
I was waiting for AOL to be on my fridge. You got eggs.
You got eggs.
Your milk's bad. You walk up to the fridge. Welcome. Your eggs just went bad.
Would you like us to order you some? Amazon is right here for you. We've got Alexa. We just brought Alexa right on in here for you.
Pops out of nowhere and says, "You got 5 seconds till your milk is bad. Would you like some help?" Freaking Clippy. Man, we're aging ourselves so bad in this.
But I still stand by. Microsoft wants to be your central. You coming to them for literally everything. Now, yes, I agree that there is other companies that are trying to do the same thing, because they see that there's more money. My eye is itching like crazy. There's more money in kind of the web of things.
Ones and zeros.
Yeah.
It's literally something they can reproduce over and over again, and it doesn't cost them anything.
It doesn't cost them anything.
They don't have to worry about overstock sitting on shelves. They don't have to worry about logistics, shipping out things, printing, defects in prints, returns, none of that stuff.
They have the more things that they control, the more control they have, the more power they have to get money out of you. So the interesting thing is where Microsoft did the same thing with Windows. What if the Xbox Live is their way of doing what they have already done, a strategy that has already worked. Try and take over the other consoles per se, put themselves out there, and then, well, you already are on Xbox Live all over the place. Maybe eventually they'll turn you into a finally, now you're coming to us for literally everything. That what they're having a hard time doing is converting what they already have into something, which is, like I said, they wanted Xbox to be your spot in front of the in front of your TV. You are going to them for literally everything. That's what the Kinect was. That's what all that other crap that they've been doing. Every time you see Xbox come out, always think of it from the perspective, and anytime you see Microsoft doing these things, think of it from the perspective of what is it that they are trying to get me in front of them for? That, well, because everything that they do,
company is that.
Yeah, well, right, and I'm not disagreeing with you.
It's a rat race.
But that's always been their mentality. That goes to your Microsoft Windows Home Edition, Microsoft Windows, the
Media Center.
XP, Media Center, all that stuff. Every one of them, we're all trying to shift you back into this. We are your one source for all entertainment needs. We are that. And that's what they've been trying to do for God forever. As long as I've been following them.
Yeah. Circling us back to the actual conversation.
Digital only.
But I think that was what a lot of people, to get this back into our conversation here, I think that's what technically, I mean, that was what Netflix was doing from the very beginning, but I think this is what Crunchyroll is trying to move it to. And I think in partly was because of getting away from Funimation as well, was this idea of trying to get Crunchyroll positioned at a point where they don't want to sell you a copy. They don't want to sell you a Blu-ray.
No.
They want to sell you a sub.
They want Netflix.
Because they want you to keep subbing, which is really terrifying, because that whole situation with them cutting down Funimation and shutting it down on the second, what they do with everybody that was still subbed at Funimation, we're transferring your sub automatically. Wait, no. I'm like, that was like the biggest question mark I had early on, was like, is that even legal? That would be like Netflix buying Hulu, and then you have a Hulu account, and then like 2 years down the road, suddenly you start getting charged for Netflix. And it's like, wait, I'm not on Netflix. Oh, we moved it for you. Don't worry about that. I think they were trying to, all the people that forgot to unsub from Funimation, I think they were just trying to grab those subs. I think that's literally what they're doing. And it's like, I wonder if there's going to be like a class action lawsuit here soon. Somebody's like, oh yeah, we can get some of that Sony money again. Let's get another class action lawsuit going. But I do understand. I mean, that was one of our initial fears of the buyout, and with it seeming like they're cutting down on how many Blu-rays are being made and everything like that, and even buying right stuff. Like this fear of over time, they're gonna move away from doing prints. Now it does look like seemingly all the printing and stuff like that with Funimation has been moved to Sony Sony Entertainment, one of their branches. One of Sony's branches does all their Blu-rays. So they're going to be doing the prints as well. So at this point, I think everything Funimation's gone. I even think their dubbing studios is gone. I think it's all moved. So rip Funimation at this point on April 2nd, rip. Which I'm not going to have my issues with Funimation.
They flat out, bad. They flat out put it on April 2nd because they didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's what everybody was saying. It's like they purposely did that. But anyways, we talked that one to death. Speaking of digital ownership, this is a good segue again. I hate the fact that I'm saying the segue thing. I listened to Crunchyroll's podcast, and they were doing the segue thing every time they went to change conversations. It's not the thing where they go, by the way, speaking of that, they were doing the thing where they go, man, I've missed the segue there, or man, I need a good segue, and it's like, please stop bringing up segues that you failed. And now I'm doing it because it's in my head now. Because I think that old podcast with IGN, I think they did that too. And it's like, please stop, please stop. You don't have to make the segue joke every time. Anyway, segue to our next topic. Crunchyroll is Seven Seas Entertainment has announced that they have licensed the new Mushoku Tensei side story novels First one is Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation, A Journey of Two Lifetimes, the special book, which is releasing in August 2024 in large trim. Ebook also available. They're also doing Mushoku Tensei Redundant Reincarnation light novel series, where they're going to release Volume 1, which I didn't know there was multiple volumes of that, but apparently there's multiple volumes. Volume 1, I think that was one that he's currently working on. Is it still releasing? I don't know.
Redundancy?
Yeah, Redundant Reincarnation. Volume 1 is releasing in November of 2024, early on digital platforms. Now, to the topic earlier, Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Recollections light novel, digital exclusive on May 2024.
I'm gonna have to look into these. You guys that are over there on the graduate group, tell me what the heck these stories are.
What these are?
No, the only ones that I know of is Oblige, Redundancy, and Old
Dragon's Tale. Yeah, I think a lot of people said that one is not. I think obviously, apparently, the other one is probably in this list because I might be wrong. I seem to remember people saying that the only one they didn't list was Old Dragon's Tale. So that's apparently the only one that they still haven't gotten. But I could be wrong. But my problem here, again, is to that point we made earlier. Digital ownership is not ownership. So I told everybody the moment I seen this, I was like, please, people, go to 7Cs and tell them you want a physical version of Recollections. Go to their feedback place on their site and tell them, please do a physical release of Recollections. Yes, I am going to acknowledge here before somebody else says it. Don't type it. If you're typing it right now, don't type it. Yes, Recollections was digital only in Japan too. Does not mean they can't do a physical over here. Plenty of companies have done physical versions of things. They've done it before. They can do it again.
Even though they're against reverse import. I've
never heard that in the case of light novels and mangas. Yes, I've heard of it for Blu-rays, but I've never heard of it for light novels. Because the thing is, with Blu-rays, they can switch the languages back to Japan. So that makes sense that they wouldn't want backwards or importing, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, there's been a lot of other ones that 7Cs has done where they've done physical versions where Japan has only done digital versions. They can do it. Now, yes, there could be somewhere in their agreements that they said they cannot do a physical version. I highly doubt that. They don't care. As long as they're paying the license, they don't care. It's just, I think right here is that sign of like, we don't want to go through the process of making a cover and having to get them to approve the cover and make a physical version ourselves when what's the better option? Ones and zeros.
Yeah.
That's always, these companies would love not to do a physical release of Journey of Two Lifetimes, a redundant reincarnation. They would love to do all this stuff digital only because again, it's pure profit, pure profit. And they can keep printing them. They can keep recreating them. They can create their own desire. Then they can do, later on, they can go, well, we have a new platform, so we have to get rid of that old one. Again, you do not own this stuff. This is, again, this whole thing with Funimation is just re-sparking with a lot of people, including myself, physical ownership. And right here, again, I told people back when this was announced, tell them we want a physical version. I want it up there on my shelf next to everything else. I don't want it on a reader that's going to go out of service in 10 years and then I don't have a physical copy of it anymore. Like that, stop this stuff. We got to stop this stuff. Plus I want it for collectability too, but mostly because I don't want to worry about their services being up. Now, yes, you can find a PDF anywhere. I'm sure there's PDFs out here right now already with translations of this, but I want to support them at the same time. I want to own it. I don't want a service holding my ownership. I'm tired of this crap. So taking a stand, Chris. Taking a stand. I told everybody, share it out, tell the world, and nobody said anything. So apparently I'm the only one that cares. No, there was a lot of people that said I did my part. Thank you. Everybody that said I did my part. I did my part. Thank you to all of you people, but everybody else, it's your fault. Anybody else that's a massive fan of Mushoku Tensei, it's your fault that you didn't say anything. We won't get that physical version because of you. Anyways, that was funny. Good joke, Andrew. GG. What else? I don't even know if I want to talk about this. It's so depressing. I did cover that, yes, technically, Kyoto District Court has handed down a guilty verdict to Shinji Aoba. For those who don't know, that is the guy that was responsible for the death of 36 people at the Kyoto Animation Studios, as well as wounding 32 people.
How long ago was that?
2017. No, he submitted it. He submitted his novel in 2017. The Fire was in 2019. Sorry, mid 2019. So yeah, it took a good.
Did they announce what the name of the book was that because he said they stole it.
I'm sure it's out there. I never seen it, but yeah. Yeah, for those who don't know, he submitted a book. Kyoto Animation holds a contest where you can submit your novels, and they will have a contest, and the winner gets typically their stuff printed. Plus, they can get anime adaptations. Violet Evergarden's a prime example of that whole system. But yeah, he burned down the studio. Obviously, again, wounding and killing a lot of people. They were trying to claim insanity, but they, of course, did not succeed in that because they claim that, how they put it, he admitted that he had done it and had no idea how many would die, which I hate that statement. He said he wished he could trade places with the victims. There was a plea of not guilty, reason of insanity. What was the statement that they had? They basically say that he was in mind, like he knew what he was doing. He went through that whole process, that would be what I would argue. He went through that whole process. He claimed that he went there and that he was doing what this voice told him or something like that, or he wanted to get rid of the voices. But that didn't work. Anyways, it's a guilty verdict. They sentenced him to death. I'm sure there'll probably be other stuff that'll be coming up here soon, or when it's going to happen, all that kind of stuff. But I do want to read Hideaki Hata's comment that he made, the KyoAni president. He said, "We have received the appropriate response from the judgment in accordance with the law. I would like to express my respect to the judges who bore the heavy responsibility and burden of the trial over a long period of time, the prosecutors and police for their efforts conducting the fair investigation, and paying careful attention to all parties involved, to the judges and clerks, and to all others that were involved in the conducting of this trial. Even after the verdict, our regret remains the same. My heart aches when I think of the loss of employees who lost their lives, those who were affected, and those who were close to them. All of us have been making daily efforts to cherish the works of art that they put their hearts into and souls into, and we hope that continuing to produce them in the future will keep their aspirations alive. Many young people have joined our company after the incident. We will continue to value our workers, strive to allow each staff member to show his or her talent, and continue to create works of art as long as possible." Ouch. I nearly lost it when I read that on the video when I recorded that. That literally hit me so hard. And yeah, they technically had one lady that was burned on the trial, and she literally is traumatized every time she looks in the mirror. And it's just like, what of all studios, not that any studio deserves this, but of all the studios, this is the one that everybody sees as being like the most just heartfelt studio that just takes care of his people. And for something like that to happen, just, ugh, it hurts. It hurts. But again, I'm kind of glad that there's at least a conclusion like this, and justice is served. Not that it changes anything, unfortunately. What else do we have? Two Books has announced that Ascendance Bookworm is getting a new season. Do you hear about? I told you about that one. Which studio is going to do the next season of Ascendance of Bookworm? That was a long time ago, but I'm still kind of shocked that that's a thing. But yeah, adapting part 3, Adopted Daughter of the Archduke. There's a side of me that's like, I do appreciate what the previous studio did. I forget what the studio's name was. They did a great job with it, and it was highly successful for that studio. And no, it's not a massive studio, but they did take good care of the series. I mean, it didn't always look great, but it wasn't bad. But I am happy to see at least that, going forward, Wit Studio might be doing some crazy stuff with it. Not that I expect like some crazy like Wit Studio CGI and Titans and stuff like that. I mean, that could be Titans and Bookworms. I don't know. Yeah. I did hear from somebody that there might be more spells and stuff involved in it, so maybe that was like an option that they had. Maybe it's because the other studio was too busy. There's a million reasons why it could be the case. I do know that Bookworm's extremely popular, so maybe they finally have the budget and they want to go a little crazier and have Wit Studio handle it. There's a multitude of reasons why they could have switched to Wit Studio, but hopefully they give it some good care.
Ascendance should be coming up on my Audible here soon.
Yep.
I know that I've got there's like all the way up to book 18 on Mushoku now.
Yeah, I ran into that the other day. I'm like, holy crap, they're turn them out.
They are going crazy.
They're
now.
like what? Almost 2 a month.
I said this a long time
like,
ago.
they're passing me up.
They need to hurry up.
I'm like, they're passing me up. I can't believe it. Like when they first announced that, I'm like, oh, that's fine. I bet I'll finish by the time they catch up with me. And then suddenly, like, they caught up with me.
And now that they finally realized, oh hey, this might actually make us some money, they're going nuts on it.
They realized,
and the downside
they were literally trying to beat Mushoku Monday because they're like, this dude's like doing a better job doing the whole thing on YouTube. So like, we need to pass him up, that way people don't have an option.
The only funny thing about this is that there is going to be a saturation point, and I hope that they don't pull back and overcompensate the other way just because they reach that saturation point. Well, we've talked about it before of the anime bubble. Why did the anime bubble burst in the first place? Is because they were just tossing everything out, and then they overcompensated by becoming overly cautious.
Yeah.
In a way, the Audible does kind of alleviate a little bit of that, because there is still the production cost involved, but they don't have to technically worry about, okay, making a whole bunch of physical goods. And so therefore, and that's like we were talking about earlier with the whole digital thing, is what these companies love about this is that they are not having the same problem.
I remember back in the day, we used to have audiobooks back in the day. They were on cassette tape.
On cassette tapes.
When you finished it, you would flip it over and you'd play the other side. It was crafty, the idea that it had two sides to it. So when you finished it, you just flipped it over and it played again. And it was the next part. And now these days, you kids download it and they tell you when you can watch it or not. Depending on if you're on an internet connection or not. If you don't have an internet connection, you can't play it. Well, guess what? My cassette tapes still work.
My cassette still work.
They're a little worn out, so it has a little crackle noise to it, but every now and then I have to hit on the side so it gets it working again. Something inside there is messed up. You gotta hit a couple times. No, right here. No, exactly right here. See where that handprint is? That's where I keep hitting it.
My old Nintendo, I had to blow in it back and forth. Made that little whistle noise.
That was so funny with the drawer for the NES, the drawer insert consoles before they did the top loader for the NES. It was like, it's so funny because we did so many weird things with that. It was like
you did. Press it down before it actually goes in.
And then we wondered why it broke, because we would purposely break it because it made the weirdest noises. Like, I remember the Robin Hood game. It had that intro where it's like dun 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 dun, and the guy like pulls lets go of the arrow and it flings, and we would hit just right when it would do that, and we go dun dun dun, and it would go like a high pitched squeal. So we were actually messing it up on purpose to get it to do that. And I'm like, why is it broken? Because you did that probably. But it's so funny to kind of look back at that and learn about the whole daughter card system they had and everything like that. I'm like, oh. Okay, now it makes sense why it broke. It's literally it's a daughter card that has to insert every time you do the drawer. It's like, who designed this? It's so great. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, digital ownership. So there's our next call to action. Everybody, we want a CD version of the entire Mushoku Tensei audiobook. Dude, that would... No joke.
Andrew just went off deep in. Y'all gonna have to get him back. Bring him back.
Two options. Now, CD-ROM or CDs, yeah, technically is a dying media. But guess what's coming back? Vinyl. Dude, I swear, mark my words. 7Cs, get on this. Try it. Do a Kickstarter or something like that. I swear. Do a Kickstarter for a vinyl release of the entire Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation audiobook. I bet you it will sell. Get like a great large art of Mushoku Tensei, and then it opens up from the side and you can slide out each one of them. I'm not sure how much time can be on one record.
You could do it. I'm not gonna deny that. I think that
how much can a record hold?
If you I forget about the freaking record. I think that you could probably pull off something like
away like that.
You could probably pull off the CDs or something like that.
25 minutes per side. How long is one of those? Have you looked at them yet?
They're around 10 or 11 episodes, or get my phone. You've got easier access to it. I'm behind a big old thing.
The camera's gonna mess up again. It did that last time. Is it messing up? Camera, don't mess up. I don't know. Last time we recorded, I got up and it literally just suddenly froze up because I stood. I think you bumped it after I got up. I think it's your fault. It's always your fault.
I got Is It Wrong up right now.
An hour at the most, right?
Mushoku Tensei?
Or a single volume. No, I guess it'd be like 3 hours, wouldn't it? I don't know. I haven't listened to an audiobook in forever, so I don't have a perspective on time.
Most of the light novels.
I just Google it. Mushoku Tensei, Volume 1, Audiobook. Seven Seas,
far back?
Volume 1. Oh, don't do a Cloudflare. Come on. It is 7 hours, so
yeah. I was gonna say they're around 10 hours each.
So, and Volume 1's like one of the smaller volumes.
There it is.
So I would say let's say probably 8 hour on average.
Don't download.
8 hours on average. Let's see. 8. So that. Oh, come on, Google. You know what I'm doing here. So 208 hours total average. Around 208 hours total.
Well, and that's,
so I mean that's only 416 records.
Yeah, that's not viable.
No, it's on each. Yeah, it's an hour for each. Yeah, so that's only 208 hours. That's only 208 records. Do it. I bet you. No, but see, the thing is, if you did it and you did a Kickstarter, I bet you, mark my words, people would buy it.
And that's what I was.
If you can get record of the entire audiobook, people would buy it as long as it had art on it.
I don't know about the record thing. But
okay, do CD-ROM.
I was thinking CD-ROM.
Thumb drive.
I was thinking CD-ROMs. A thumb drive. I don't think so.
I would probably if I was there. If I was them, I would probably do CDs.
I think that the CDs could actually you could actually pull that off, or Blu-rays with just audio files on.
True. Yeah.
And just
because you can literally do that,
and then you'll
put the Blu-ray in it. It'll come with the screen just like a regular Blu-ray, and you can select each one. And
yeah, I think that actually
have like a
mock it up in a really nice box, and it would look really good.
Get somebody to do some really good 2D animation thing that like loops, like that whole Roxy thing that I have. That's from that Steam generator, whatever engine thing for the wallpaper. Have it just have like Roxy and the wind's blowing and it's on repeat, and have the audiobook going.
I think that
would be incredible,
there is a distinct these audiobooks can very much be marketed and used.
Yeah.
I wish that they could figure out something. That's just like I was saying with the light novels when we were talking about it a long time ago. They have the problem of trying to guess which ones will be hits because of the downside of it. When they figure out how to fix the problem of their investment versus their profit, once they figure that out, it's all, and they just think that the way to fix that problem is to go digital.
Yeah.
Digital is not the answer, especially when you're talking about a collector fandom that is centralized around collecting. You're not going to fix this problem with digital.
That was my big argument that I was making with that one volume with Mushoku Tensei going digital only. It's like, you don't realize anime fans, light novel fans, manga readers, they like collectability. It's always been in this industry. And that's why Sean Kleckner, through all that, was still about that. He even said it, I think, on a regular basis with the interviews. He knew there's a collector community. He knew that people loved having things in their hands. That's why he didn't go digital with Nozomi Entertainment or anything. I mean, he did have his products on, Crunchyroll and whatnot, but he knew that there was a fandom for it. That's why his company was successful. He knew every time he boxed up something, this is going into somebody's collection. We're going to put this with this box full of paper. We're going to make sure that thing can drop from a forklift and not be hurt. That was their selling point because they knew why. You want that in your collection. You want it looking pristine when it gets to you. And I think a lot of these companies have kind of lost that. And yeah, it does. There's nothing better for
Well,
a company than diversifying.
Just like when
If they can figure out how to diversify their audiobooks and make it more than just that initial sell, that's how you make more money. If Seven Seas, okay, you recorded that guy, reading the whole book series. They're almost done. They're like 3 more months. They're probably going to be done with Mushoku Tensei. Okay, you've sold them. Now what? It just sits there and hopes that somebody else buys it. You take it and you make it make money again. That's how you make money as a company. Is you keep this worked. What other ways can we use this? Put on CDs and sell it physically. Like, be the first one to do it. Now, again, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's their property. I mean, they bought the license. They obviously got the agreement that they can record a voice recording so that they can sell it again. I really am curious how that licensing works.
Well, that's just like when you were originally talking about it, and this is when I was talking when you at first you started talking about the
we're all over the place,
the record thing, and my brain was oh,
reject,
okay,
reject,
you're being silly. But then immediately when you brought up the box, my brain immediately shifted, and I went, no, okay, forget about the stupid record thing, but CDs. You could use that on CDs. You could put it on because you triggered.
That's like 70 hours on a CD.
Yeah, you immediately, by mentioning the box, you immediately triggered that collector side of me, and I think that is something that they really need to figure out how they can capitalize on. If they don't capitalize on that, you might as well just leave it out on to the ground. I don't know.
Oh, it's 74 minutes of uncompressed on a CD-ROM.
Yeah,
Blu-ray is good. Blu-ray then.
Blu-ray is why. That's why I brought up Blu-ray. That's
how big is the files then? Is the question.
You could do it. It's only 7. I mean, you've got
we're so 7 Seas. Call us. This is if you're gonna go with this idea, I want a cut. We got an idea here. we're Shark Tanking this sucker. I got this idea, and I know it. Dude, I'm so tempted to send them an email right now and be like, I got an idea for you guys. Please hear me out.
They've done audiobooks for a long time. I have the Harry Potter series on CD.
But I know because Grandma used to have a whole bunch of audiobooks. Old people have these things. Old people have these.
They were tapes.
Chris is like,
were tapes.
One too. I'm like, yeah, Grandma did too. You old fart. No, I remember.
I'm only a couple years older than you.
I remember that was another one that was a big one. Was the Harry Potter series had it? What was another one during that time that was huge that I remember seeing?
I had Lord of the Rings on it.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Lord of the Rings on an audiobook.
And I think even the Star Wars ones did too, as well, right?
I don't know about Star Wars.
Yeah,
there was tons of them back then. That was a big thing back then. Like
my whole point is, this whole digital ownership thing it's opening door to this stuff, and these companies should realize that. It's just like that. It's just like what Sony did with Xbox. The moment, again, Xbox went out there and said, TV, always online. You insert your disc, it gets online, and it confirms it. The moment Sony heard that, they immediately grabbed a camera. I think they probably even just used somebody's phone. Hey, point the camera towards us. This is how you share your games on PlayStation. Here you go. Thank you. That's all they did. They capitalized on that controversy. Right now, again, if I'm talking to 7 Seas right now, which I'm right now because it's Mushoku Tensei, capitalize on this. You can literally come out and say, are you afraid of your ownership of digital stuff? Own Mushoku Tensei. Own Soma Spiral, so what? We're going to start doing physical releases of your favorite stuff in Blu-ray format, and so you can listen to them on your TV whenever you want.
I think that if
that's massive, dude.
I think that if you do it right, you could do literally what Sony did to Microsoft. Now Sony screwed up later, but that's beside the point.
We're just talking about that moment. That was incredible. No matter if you're a Sony fan or an Xbox fan, that was an incredible. If you're an Xbox fan, you probably hated that whole moment, but still,
they literally turned the tables of the entire thing, upended it by literally that one moment, because Xbox went out there and acted like they knew what was best for the consumer.
And that console did not do well at that point. Xbox One did not start good.
And then Sony went out and flipped the entire script and said, we're actually in touch with the players.
You guys want to own your physical goods.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
now Sony's doing it again. We're taking your physical goods. We're taking away your digital goods. Oh. Gosh dang, I'm glad that this is completely just derailed into like the most genius idea ever. Physical ownership of audiobooks.
And it sucks because it's one of those things that I wish that we could do that, but we don't have the capabilities. We don't have the ability to go into these licensors and say, hey, we have this idea. We can do it. You can't. We just can't.
I have the recordings. I could put Mushoku Monday on Blu-ray. I'll put Mushoku Monday on Blu-ray. I wonder if that... Technically, I'd change it. Technically, I do condense it. I do change it. I wonder if I could actually sell a Blu-ray of me reading Mushoku. Anyways.
No, actually,
I'm not even gonna try.
There has been people who have tried it and they get in trouble.
I'll just put like a bootleg version of Rudius on the cover of it and sell a Blu-ray. I'll call it Rudiko's Adventures. I'll do Rudiko's Adventures. What else do we even have to talk about? We went on a massive tangent. I completely forgot where we're at on this thing. We did that. Oh, Ponycan has announced that Ubel Blatt manga is getting a TV anime adaptation. That's an interesting one. I don't know what they're gonna do with that. I actually went and checked it because I'm like, okay, this is cool, like elf dude and stuff like that. It's supposed to be a dark fantasy series, and I went and looked at the manga, and I'm like, think Seven Deadly Sins. You know how like the main character was always like pervy, you know, like he's just like easygoing. He just wrecks people, but at the same time, he's got that girl there, and he'll just flip up the skirt because he wants to see it. Think that, but like, yeah, pretty much like. Like it just goes full H on it. Like the full first one is like he literally gets helped by somebody. This girl like is patching him up, and he literally just like grabs her, rips up her shirt, and just starts going, just sticking, yeah, just right there in front of some dudes, and they're like, "Hey, stop that!" And he's like, "Oh, what's the big deal?" And then like the second and then they also had a horse jump on a lady, which there you go. And the second chapter literally just has like this girl this crazy. Chick just literally forks herself on top of him, and they just go at it. So I'm like, I'm guessing this is gonna be like, I guess redo of Healer, like a late night show type of thing, like probably
sounds
borderline.
Special. I know I heard the name before, but
are they gonna completely censor it? I don't know if they can. I mean, again, that whole fight in the second chapter is literally him going at it with her. That's the fight, is them going at it. So yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be like some late night trash H type show or what. It says rumors stir through the land when the wielder of the black sword draws his dark blade. All who stand in the path are torn asunder. Coinzel, I'm guessing, the mysterious young boy who carries the black sword, undeniably wields with it with exceptional skill. But can he truly be responsible for the bloody rumors? Pursued by the traitorous lances, 4 powerful warriors who are thought to have been defeated by the 7 heroes, the strength of the young swordsman will be tested to his limits. At battle's end, only the shocking truth of Coinzel's quest will stand above the corpses of his enemies, an epic fantasy on the grandest scales. It looks good though. Like, I mean, like I said, I always like this dark fantasy stuff. Like it's like was it Bastard? They just go at it, whatever. It just happens, whatever. Just do it. I like it. Again, this kind of goes to like where we were talking, me and Chris were talking about something beforehand. It's like, yeah, let's just go back to it. Sell it. Just go back to it and sell it. If it works, do it. Don't be afraid of it. We'll see though. Hopefully probably won't get licensed over here. Hopefully High Dive's still around and not dying because their app sucks and everybody's getting angry at them right now. What else? Oh yeah, Netflix is gonna make a new One Piece anime. Have you heard of this manga called One Piece, Chris? Apparently, it's never had an adaptation. Apparently, finally, Netflix is going to adapt One Piece for the first time ever. We've never had an anime for it yet. We've never had a 1,000 episode anime of One Piece, and so apparently Netflix is going to take up the gavel and say, "Look, we got Wit Studio behind us.
You know what?
We're going to adapt it."
I think I've heard of this.
You've heard of this One Piece?
It's the one where they
It's a swimsuit you wear.
yes.
No, a dress. It could be a dress too. It's a clothing.
There's
I'm gonna get so much hate.
thinking something
so
about pirates, maybe.
And fruit and pow pow fruit. That's right.
No. That's Dragon Ball.
We're gonna get so much hate. It's not pow pow fruit. It's a devil fruit. Isn't it devil fruits?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not pow pow fruit. That's Kingdom Hearts. We joked about this before.
Oh, that's what
we're using the same joke again. It just happens. I'm sorry, people.
Senzu beans were in Dragon Ball.
Oh no, it was Senzu bean. That's right. He ate a Senzu bean. Now he can stretchy stretch. He becomes the guy from Indestructibles. What was it called? The movie with the guy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
no, that was
Stretch Armstrong.
The wife. The wife was the one that stretches, or was it he that stretched?
Who was Stretch Armstrong?
He was the one that was the action figure that we had in a kid, where you pull the arms back and it flings them back forward automatically.
Gotcha.
Or was that the one from Fantastic Four?
God knows.
No, Fantastic Four was the one that had Hulk in it.
No, Elastic Girl was in the Incredibles.
No, that was Batman. It was
No,
Batman's sidekick.
no.
Remember? She wore the green, and she always says like "Crikey, Batman" or whatever.
No, that's Robin.
That was Robin. Like from the Prince of Thieves. No, that was the guy that did the whole thing. Like he's like, "I'll cut it hard out with a spoon."
No, that was the.
He's like, "Why would you use a spoon? You could use a knife." And he's like, "'Cause it'll hurt more, you twit."
No, that's the sheriff of Nottingham.
No, that was the guy that was in Harry Potter.
Yeah, he was in Harry Potter.
Rest in peace, dude.
No,
like everybody's like, we
Not
lost
that
a
guy.
great man from Harry Potter. I'm like, no, we lost the best villain ever in movie history. Cut your heart out with a spoon.
Did he pass away?
Yeah,
I know Dumbledore did.
same person.
No, it's not Dumbledore.
Somebody died, unfortunately. Whoever died, rest in peace. They're both good actors.
I lost Andrew.
Is it the same one? Wasn't he?
I made
wasn't
one
that guy in
joke
Harry
and
Potter?
we're
Robin Hood. What was it called? Prince of Thieves? Was it the movie? Yeah, it was a movie because it had Kevin Costner in it.
yeah, Kevin Costner.
Who was the guy?
It's Snape, by the way, if that's what you're asking.
Snape?
But no,
Snake?
it's the sheriff of Nottingham in Prince of Thieves.
Alan Rickman?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that dude. Yeah, that dude died. They were all saying he's like, I'm like, no, he was, that was his role, dude.
Alan Rickman
That and Die
passed?
Hard, wasn't it?
I didn't know that Alan Rickman passed.
Yeah. Alan Rickman. Died January 14th, 2016, Chris, man. A long time ago. A long time ago, Chris. Yeah, he was good in Die Hard too. Holy crap, dude.
No, but Dumbledore passed in number.
Yeah, you're naming names of like Harry Potter, and I'm gonna be like,
second.
yeah, sure, that one. I don't know.
Dumbledore was the old guy. Dumbledore was the old guy.
I'm like, I don't know anybody in that show. Whatever. I just know Harry Potter, and that was about it. I don't know anybody else's names.
Yeah,
Or it was Hermione was the chick, right?
Yeah.
And then was it Snake was
Snape is
Is
one
it
of the
Snape?
professors. Snape.
is it P or is it
It's
K?
a P.
Okay, thank you.
Snape.
Yeah, I think I remember him. I don't know.
Yeah, he's one of the professors. He's one of the main.
And the
Snape
chubby guy
professors.
that brought Harry Potter there, I think he was like his uncle.
That
or something
is
like that.
that is oh my god, I almost
And the
said
big
Dumbledore.
tall and the big tall dude that was all fuzzy that was like a groundskeeper or something like that.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Wizard Harry.
God, Hagrid, for God's sakes.
I'm sorry. I'm just throwing names out there. I don't really care. But yeah, One Piece is getting a full new adaptation. I actually am happy about this. I know that there's like a mixture of people going, "How dare you? Toei Animation is doing good enough." There's a group of people that's like, "Holy crap! Yes, please redo it and do it right." There's a group that says, you know, why are we doing a re-adaptation of something? Why don't we do other stuff? This is the death of anime. There's a lot of responses to this. Me personally, it's like, thank you. I'm never going to sit through 1,000+ episodes. If I can start over new with the Wit Studios version, I'm on board. I will watch it from episode 1.
I don't know. I'm
And
very
dodge
very
spoilers
mixed on
like
it.
crazy.
I'm very mixed on it. I think that the idea of redoing it, I mean, I've been excited about a lot of the remakes that we've had so far.
But they're typically like, because it was made back in 1992 and they're remaking it now 30 years later.
We have the same issue with this one.
But they're literally going to be both being adapted at the same time. That's what's crazy, is you're going to have literally 2 listings on television broadcast of the same show. That's crazy.
The main reason why I'm mixed on it, I love the idea in the respect of getting some of the older stuff kind of updated and into the newer styles.
When did it start? Was it 1999, right?
I want to say it's been 20 years. It's been running for forever. Because when we started the podcast, it was already in the 200-300 episode range.
Yeah. At least maybe 300, 400. But I mean, it's like, I think this is a win for, I think this is a great way to capture new fans. Because obviously a lot of people are either going to be like, I don't want to jump in at episode 1071 and I don't want to start from the beginning. Again, I think this is a great thing for them to capture new audiences. Now, I don't know how, I did hear there's a bit of filler. Obviously there's a bit of filler, and I'm assuming they're going to probably skip all the filler, but it is an interesting move. Yeah, 1999, I was right. Nice. Because I remember looking it up before. I probably looked it up before.
Yeah, you figure the first 10 years of it, that would be about 500 episodes, and then we've been doing this for about 10 years, so that's another 500 episodes or so that'd be about 1,000 episodes.
I like how it's literally, they announced it to all One Piece fans. We are pleased to announce that Wit Studio is the production studio for The One Piece. A new One Piece. That was my other curious question. Like, how is it going to be listed? I bet you're going to have literally TV listings is going to be Toei Animation's One Piece. And then Toei Animation with Wit Studios One Piece. The One Piece, sorry. It's going to be the One Piece. It's going to be One Piece and The One Piece. That's how it's going to be listed. You're literally going to have 2 One Pieces. Each one's going to have the at the beginning of it. That's crazy. But again, that's the other question is Wit Studio going to be doing like a core, split, a core, split, a core, or are they going to start and just keep going? We don't have really an idea of the release schedule or anything because I think they literally just started. In their posting, they literally said to all creators, we need your help to help us out. They were recruiting people the moment they were announcing. They didn't even have the staff for it, I don't think. So I think this is they wanted to get this out there before anybody said anything. I think this is a sign of that leaks are really messing with them. I bet they wanted to get this news out before anybody picked up on it. But yeah, it will probably be on Netflix. Yeah, they said to stream on Netflix. I think this is literally is what Netflix put together. I think this is Netflix's move. I'm curious if Netflix is producing this.
I wonder if Netflix
they got with Oda. They did the live action, and they went, this is costing us too much money. It's probably cheaper if we just animate it. Let's get a studio. Let's get Oda's approval, and let's start over from the beginning. Netflix is the only place you can watch it. We're starting from episode 1. Watch One Piece here. I bet that's what they're doing. Which I think is sad. It's probably cheaper to make an animation than a live action.
Do you think the live action did better than they were expecting?
Oh, it did well. Yeah, it was topping all the charts for them. It was extremely successful. But I don't think it was successful enough because it costed them a lot of money to make that. They spent a boatload to make that movie. And I don't think they got enough subs to account for it. And again, I think what happened is they went, I bet you animating this series would probably be easier and cheaper. You know, just get a studio to pump it out. And what is it like? I think the lower numbers like in the millions or something like that, just for like a season or something like that. So much cheaper than them actually making a set for every scene they go to and animating or recording the whole thing, filming it, getting all the actors and actresses there and all the post-processing and everything. It's sad, but animation is cheaper. So I don't doubt that they went, we want to keep doing this. One Piece is doing really good for us.
But the question is how much do you think that they invested into it? See
the live action?
I'm still not, because I know that they were dumping money like crazy. But I got the impression that they were kind of pulling back a bit. But a property like One Piece, if they got enough of a kind of a response that they weren't expecting. And so that made them decide to go ahead and go with this. But do you think that they dumped the same amount of money that they were at the beginning with this one?
Big Bag budget says the budget for One Piece is $18 million per episode, putting it at estimated $144 million at 8 episodes. That's massive. A lot of money. That's a lot of money. Like I said,
you're talking.
When you
how much was Unlimited Blade Works?
I don't know. I don't think they list that, because you literally, the only way that you can usually find out is through leaks. Some rando on Reddit says it probably about $330,000 per episode. I can see that, because again, I think what was the guy that used to be with Gainax, he said when he was talking about that whole like limiting budget thing that they were doing, limited investments they were doing, where they were capping investments so that they can make the most, they would be investing the most, thus they would have the majority ownership. I think I remember correctly, he was saying something about a single core being like forced to be about, $5 million the most. And it was really pushing them a lot. So I can see it being like in that range right there. Again, that literally plays into my theory right here. I bet we wasted this much money to make 8 episodes. Let's reanimate One Piece. It would be cheaper, and it's extremely successful. Let's just animate it instead. I bet no doubt. That's legit what's going on here. Again, I'm pretty sure Netflix was the one that's backing this. Let me see if there's like anything on my anime list yet. Shit, I don't even know. Oh, I guess the manga would list it as an alternate. I know it's already on Mal. The One Piece. Yep, Mal's got it as The One Piece. Producers Toei Animation, Fuji TV, and Shueisha. Wow, they don't even list Netflix. Okay. Yeah, that's the only thing that sucks is like, I would love to actually cover it. Like do videos coverage of the One Piece when it comes out. But Toei. I would have to I would literally have no visuals on my screen. And I would even have to be careful with my titles. I don't want to totally not Mark situation here. Because yes, totally not Mark literally got his entire channel destroyed by Toei. And I'm like, I'm afraid of it. Like when I did that whole coverage of that announcement about Dragon Ball having that new series, I was super afraid of posting that video because I was afraid they were going to strike my channel. Toei is nasty with YouTube and fair use. I mean, that's exciting. But again, I thought Netflix was more involved. They have to be involved somehow. I guess we'll see here soon, just how much involvement they have. Because I don't think Toei will be like, okay, let's do this, Netflix. We'll pay for it. It's crazy. Super crazy, though. But again, I do agree with people that it is sort of disappointing to see that something like this is happening. Because again, One Piece is still there. It's still going to be adapted, and they're going to be doing another adaptation of the same thing. And it kind of does show you that, like, is the anime industry getting to the point now where they're not wanting to take risks? Readapt the whole Dragon Ball Z franchise. Start from Dragon Ball. Episode 1, readapt the whole thing.
I don't mind. Like I said, I'm mixed on it.
There is a good sign to it, though, because it feels like more now than ever, we're getting sequels. We're getting seasons, second seasons and third seasons. And yes, that is a sign that they are afraid of jumping into new franchises. But that's a good thing, because we're moving from... Anime used to be... I mean, yes, way back in the day, it was like OVAs and stuff like that. And you basically got like 3-episode OVAs, and it was like a full story. But then at some point, they started adapting manga and light novels and stuff like that. Mostly manga at first. And it was like they were advertisements. For the longest time, they were advertisements. You only got one season of everything. The idea of getting multiple seasons was only for shonens, the big ones. And everything else was advertisements. Now we're getting to the point finally where it's like, I hear we're getting a second season and a third season.
Yeah.
There is a massive plus side to that. Is the idea that they're shifting to, rather than just be advertisements for source material, it's let's keep doing more seasons because these other companies overseas keeps licensing them. they want the next seasons.
Yep.
And it's free money right there alongside the advertisement for the source material. So it is a good move in some regards, but I don't want to see readaptations of stuff that's currently airing or has been away for 2 days. Like, I'm fine with Spice and Wolf because, again, that's forever ago.
Yeah.
And art styles have changed. Technology has changed. The visual styles have changed. So, yeah, start over.
And what I wanted to say is I'm mixed on it mostly because I like the idea of getting it streamlined, getting it up to date, fresh coat. My downside really is only in the aspect of I just don't know, is it really going to shift anything? What is the real reason to do it? Capturing a new audience, I guess.
That's my assumption, but I think it is to kind of just shift ownerships, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like it makes a lot of sense. Outside of, like you were saying, just capturing a new audience. I guess.
From a business standpoint, I can see it being literally they're going to be licensing out the same property to 2 different people. They'll have one license going to Crunchyroll, Funimation, the other license going to Netflix. They're literally going to be turning in twice the licensing for one property. I wonder if that's an aspect of it.
Talk about dipping your toe. You just see if you can actually make money off of it a second time. That'll be interesting.
And the big fans are going to rewatch it all from the start. They're going to be right there ready.
There's a lot of people.
They're either going to be there because they want to experience the second time and see whatever they do with it. And there's going to be a group that's going to be like, I'm going to watch it like a hawk and see how you messed up my Toei version. Even though it's still Toei. It's not Toei Animation. It's Wit Studio. But it's still Toei. Toei is still the owner. They're still the ones behind it. They're still the ones telling what to do. It's going to be funny. It is going to be so funny. There's a side of me that kind of just wants to watch everything
I actually kind of am in this weird spot where I'm actually thinking about the fact that the David production Unlimited Blade Works versus how that aged. It didn't age well at all.
Oh, you mean the original Unlimited?
The original Unlimited Blade Works versus the
what was that studio?
It was Studio David.
No, it
David Productions.
It wasn't David. It was Studio. Gosh, dang
it was David Productions.
It was not David Productions, dude. Dude, it's like literally because I know it's Studio something. It's not David Productions. It's Studio something. And my brain is not connecting the second word. It was a very big, not a big studio, but it was a very common studio back in the day. Nobody's listening. We're gonna act like it never existed. Nobody has it listed anywhere. Like that doesn't exist. Here, this one will show it. Alternate versions. Fate Night Unlimited Blade Works movie. Dean.
Oh, Dean, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when you said that, I'm thinking like David Productions, which does all this crazy new remakes. I mean, they're doing the Urusei Yatsura. I'm like, would like doing an older style of it or something? What are you talking about? You had me like trying to figure out what.
I don't know why David popped in. It was Dean. Andrew's right. I remember that now.
I just look it up. Of course, I'm right. Speaking of bringing things back from a long time ago and giving them sequels, Dorohedoro is coming back. Did you watch? Yeah, you didn't watch the first one.
I'm not going to.
No. It's so good.
No. You
should go back and watch it because you like really good wrote villains, right?
Maybe.
So, yeah, you would probably eat it up. If you can get some time, I mean, we don't even know when this is coming back out, but if you can get time, that'd be a good watch. But yeah, after 4 years, the official website for Dorohedoro has announced they're going to be a sequel for the series. Assumption is going to probably be on Netflix because the first season was on there, but good stuff. Nothing else really from it. That's just like a really early announcement, so I'm going to guess probably next year at earliest. But I'm excited about that. And here's a big one too, another returner. I like how this is just kind of rolling into each other. Speaking of extremely long time wait for a sequel to come out, Aniplex has announced 2 new projects for the Monogatari series, Chris.
Oh yeah,
Monogatari is coming back, Chris. Shaft is pressing that danger button. We got to get some good stuff coming in the studio. We're dying. We got to adapt more Madoka. We got to adapt more Mushoku, Monogatari series. Now press the button for March Comes Like a Lion, please. You press the other two buttons. Please press that one too. Is there anything else from Shaft that we need to worry about? I think that's the big 3 right now. Yeah, if you want to bring back Sayonara Zespa Sensei, yeah, you can press that button too.
That would be dangerous.
Dude, a readaptation of Sayonara Zespa Sensei. For those who don't know, that's literally where they got this Shaft style from. If you go back and watch Zespa Sensei, which was pre all these titles, that's where they got that style from. They were super crazy with that
Are
series.
they bringing back the crew?
Yeah. Yep. Akio Watanabe created a new visual for it. We have Akiyuki Shinbo, who's returning as chief director. Again, Akio Watanabe is returning as the character designer and chief animation director. Fuyashi To and Akiyuki Shinbo is returning for series composition. So yeah, all those are the original staff.
It can say.
Because I said the same exact thing when I first heard about it. I'm like, if you don't bring back the original group, because no, it was literally like, it felt like a month before then. I was talking with somebody, and I was talking about how I'm like, I would love them to keep going back and come back as a studio by doing what was working for you, which was the Monogatari series, which still needs more stuff. Again, more stuff needs to be adapted. Come back, but I don't want it unless you have the original crew. So when they announced this, I'm like, who's working on it? I literally was like scraping, who's working on this? If it's not them, I don't care. Okay, good. Unless they just put their names on there, which I doubt that. I don't think they would do that. At least they wouldn't. Shaft wouldn't do that. But yeah, I was like, if it ain't the old people, don't bother, because it's not going to have that feel. It's not going to have that style. That crew made that studio. And whoever's working on it, which I think Shinbo's still there, which I was kind of surprised by that. I think it was Shinbo. But there's something going on with Shaft. And they're obviously hemorrhaging, and I think they hit that button, that panic button. Get Junobuchi back here. Get Shinbo back here. We're dying. The studio's dying. We gotta get back Shaft. We gotta get that old Shaft back.
Do you know who's doing the next Madoka?
It's Jin.
It is Jin?
Mm-hmm. Well, his name's on it. Again, everybody's like, right now, is like, yeah, Jin puts his name on everything now. I think he has his input, but yeah, he's obviously trying to up.
I'm very, very interested.
He likes his puppets, people. Let him enjoy his puppets, people. They're like, come over here and do bubbles. I'll get you started, and then she can take care of it, all right? I think it was like a female that was doing the rest of the writing, and it's like, okay, I want to go back to my puppets. And like, all right, cool, thank you, dude. We got your name right. All right, thank you. He's involved. Just not entirely.
It'll be interesting, because I did like the concept of the spoof trailer that somebody had done a long time ago. I liked the concept of the third. It was a April Fool's joke, or was it an actual spoof trailer? It was something that they had announced the third Madoka movie, and I really liked the concept of the third.
Oh, you mean that crossover thing they did?
Was it a crossover?
They did a crossover with something. What was it? They did a crossover with Monogatari at some point.
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that. This was a joke of because if you look at the series, there's basically
all I can say is when they bring back Madoka Magica, if they do the freaking flip again, I'm gonna be annoyed. Because
it's going to be
she sacrifices herself, and then it goes, no, I'm sacrificing myself. And if it goes back to, no, I'm sacrificing. They did more than just that, but still, it was a little frustrating.
Effectively, yeah, Devil Girl sacrificed herself, and then Goddess Girl sacrificed herself to save Devil Girl, and then now basically Devil Girl is going to be basically dragging her out of hell to save them both.
Back and forth.
Yeah,
back and forth.
And I like the concept of turning the entire thing around in one big old circle, and it'll be interesting.
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream.
Dude,
a dream.
My prediction. Big news. Buchi's back. Madoka Magica. New movie. Come to theaters. Everybody that comes there walks in the door. They sit down. They're excited. Madoka's back. Kicks on. You get that intro song. And it's blank. And you're like, What's coming up? What's coming up? What's coming up? And then suddenly it cuts. Eyes opening up. And the perspective shifts to on top of the roof, pointing down. And Madoka's waking up. The mom wakes her up. She looks at the clock. She looks at the calendar. It's back to the first episode. Nothing ever happened. None of it. It's all a dream. And they just got your ticket. Cast scroll.
Yeah, just slice of life for the next for an hour and a half.
It's legit. The whole movie is literally the first hour of her day. She gets up, she goes in the shower, just like closes the door. You can hear the shower turning on. It's just a shot of the door. But later, she comes back out, goes downstairs, sits down, eats toast, every bite. And they could totally pull it off. That's the sad thing.
Jin could pull it off. Jin could do it.
In general, the studio could pull this off. I mean, there's some pretty monotonous and plain, like, super plain, like, mundane moments of life that they have animated in the most amazing ways. They could pull it off. And we're just throwing ideas out right now for people to steal. I hate
Jin, call me.
By the way, the news is that Aniplex is releasing 2 new projects. It is specifically the Monogatari series Off Season and Monster Season, which of course is going to be the next two stories. They didn't release the format. They could be movies, they could be TV series, I'm not sure, but they are producing it in 2024. And the other bit in here, there was one other thing that was Youth Continues to Pass. That was like an expert. Yeah, so yeah, that's the news. I thought there was something else in there, but yeah, the next two's coming out, so I'm happy. Now, I will admit, I'm not looking forward to buying another Blu-ray. I will have to finish the set, and once those 2 come out, I have to buy them because I have to finish the set, and they better look like those. No, I want chipboards. I want some more chipboards. You guys, your stupid flimsy sleeves for $70 were annoying. But yeah, for those that don't know, a long time ago, I bought the whole series, and me and Chris sat down and watched every single one of them, and did a podcast on every single one. I have to make sure if those specific podcast episodes are on the feed. I have been lacking on fixing our feed. Lost so many episodes on that feed. Is that it? Oh, did you see my video on Ruri Dragon? Are you a Ruri fan? Are you a Ruri fan now, Chris? Did I make you a Ruri fan?
I don't know. I remember her face, but I have not. I don't think I've actually read that. So I've probably seen her pop up on my feed quite a bit.
That is one of those ones where it's like, I swear I've seen it before, but I can't place it. And I'm like, I'm gonna read it, and I'm like, kind of like it. Like I have my misgivings, and it's more in the idea that it's like, I feel like this should have more drama beats to it. Like it should get a little heavier right here, but it really does feel like it's a pretty chill series. Like you shouldn't expect that it's got... Anyways, the news is the official Twitter account for Masaoki Shindo announced that Ruri Dragon is returning. Now, it's returning in Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine and publishing 5 chapters starting March 4th, before switching over to serialization in weekly Shonen Jump Plus manga website on April 22nd. They're going to be releasing new chapters every other issue. Now, I think the reason why they're doing every other issue... it's probably for the mangaka's health, because, yes, for those who don't know, July of 2022, the series went on hiatus due to their health. That means it's been a year and 2.5 years? Is that 2.5 years?
No, a year and a half.
That's half. Yeah, a little bit over a year and a half, yeah. That's crazy hiatus. Like... when I went to make my video, I was like, looking for some like images and stuff like that for thumbnail and everything like that. And I ran into so many videos of people saying it's dead. This series was never coming back. Ruri Dragon has been canceled by Shonen Jump. Like there's so many people like going, this is never coming back. Like I just didn't know there was a fandom for this, but there's apparently a very passionate fandom for Ruri Dragon. And I understand why. Ruri's super cute. Ruri's character design is so freaking cute. I love it. They got the little gal thing. She looks super cute. But yeah, it's just a very wholesome series. I really like it. I was joking on my videos saying that it's pretty much like if Toro and Kobayashi had a baby. And so it's a half dragon. And then the dragon leaves into the hills. And then Kobayashi has to raise the dragon. I don't know. just came to my head. I'm sorry. It's nothing like Maid Dragon, but it's a dragon and a girl, and we always wanted Toru and Kobayashi to get together, you know.
Yep.
But no, it's super wholesome. And I can see why people were pretty bad because because at the end of the 6th chapter, which I read all the way through them all, the 6th chapter, which was the last one, my gosh, that ending, I feel bad for people. That was kind of like a, holy crap, that happened. Can't wait for the next chapter. Crickets for a year and a half. It's like, whoa, this is going to happen. Crickets. When is it coming out? Crickets. So I can kind of get, I guess I understand why people were like, just give us more. But again, the massive icing on the cake is like, it's a sign that at least the author is okay. Like, I don't know what the heck they went through, what health issue they were having, but dang, that's a long time to be away. And I hope that means that they're back to 100%. Obviously not 100% because they're putting gaps, but yeah. And hopefully this means they're going to have an anime adaptation. Coming back, everybody's excited. I mean, their post when they posted it's coming back went crazy. Like, it got a lot of clicks and likes and everything. So, yeah, hopefully that means that it's success for them. And again, I hope they're good. I hope they're good. But yeah, I think that's all the news I got. I think we hit everything. I didn't think we would. Let me double check. Did you have anything that we didn't cover that you want to cover, Chris? I never ask you if you have something you want to cover. I feel like I'm leaving you out on the process. Is there some news that you need to cover? Are you looking it up?
Not, no.
How much time do we got? Let's do one question. I feel bad not doing one question. Because I did say at the start that we were going to do a question. Web Gaming sent me a picture where it says, do I need a premium subscriber to watch my digital copy? And it says no. Okay, there's something else on the Funimation website that doesn't match their new process here. Submit question. Let's see. See if I can find out where we left off. It's been a while. Look for the check marks. Here's an odd one. Let's see. That's a really long one. What's your favorite manga, novel, game series you want to get an anime? Doesn't have to be Japanese series, like how Ghibli made movies from Western book series. So like anything. I think you've brought up before. Would you still want a Game of Thrones one? Would you still want a Game of Thrones anime?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see when
mostly because I'm so sick and tired of waiting for dude to get the next part. It's just not going to happen. I'm convinced that man is going to pass away before that he ever finishes that dang book.
That.
Yes, I do want to see Game of Thrones done. I really do. I think that if anybody could do it justice, it would be a company like Ufotable or somebody who would really do it justice. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't trust him to finish the daggum books, so I don't think that we're ever going to get a solid conclusion for it, and I don't even want to torture myself with something like that. But as I still would love, I think that my main if we're kind of focusing on light novels and stuff like that, I would like to continue my Labyrinth story or get more of Mayu. Now that we know that Spice and Wolf was taken care of,
our go-to answer was always Spice and Wolf, and now we don't have to say that anymore. No, I can say I hope they do a full adaptation, and there's one core and then they stop. I'd be so mad. Oh, I just hope it does really well. That way they can say, okay, we do need to fully adapt this thing. Don't do that mess of 2 cores that they did before. Do the whole thing. Do the whole thing.
I mean, I'm not as into the manga light novel scene as much as you guys would think. I do hover it, but it's more going from the anime to the light novel or something like that.
Yeah.
The mangas,
we're playing into the system that they advertise the anime and then we watch, then we read the manga or light novel.
I have done some dabbling into new stuff, but it's usually I get caught on a kind of a genre, and then I'll just kind of dabble down that direction for a little while. And then I might kind of jump off from from artists this artist's artwork, and then I'll go from all the way through all of his stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened with the Flowers of Evil guy.
Yeah,
I just say everything that they had.
So
which, I mean, yeah, it's like that's weird. I would like a Inside Mari by Bind.
I would love Flowers of Evil to be redone.
Yeah, that too. That's true.
I mean, a lot of his stuff is fantastic, but I don't know that
I don't know that I want Happiness done. It was good, but not my favorite of his. But yeah, I would probably go Inside Mari and Flowers of Evil before anything else. I haven't done the tracks one yet. But no, me, trying to think of something that that's doesn't have an adaptation yet that I've actually read. And most of them, I don't think that I would want anything. I mean, I would like continuations of like Noragami and you know, School Live, and there's a lot that I would love to see get adaptations. I mean, I haven't even read it yet, but I would love a Roxy Get Serious anime. But no, I think of anything that I've read that I would probably want something is maybe something like I think Inside Mari, maybe JK Haru, but I'm not like invested in that or anything like that. I just would more want it just because it's so different. And it's so like it's so unapologetic for what it is, and it's technically real. But I don't know. I don't have really, and video games, I could not even tell you. I mean, like 13 Sentinels maybe, but I think that would be like an absolute jumbled mess to adapt. Like that story itself is confusing to kind of parse together, and it's so many branching stories with so many characters and so many timelines. It's like, how would you adapt that? It's kind of like the whole thing with Nier. It's like, how do you adapt something like that has so many plot lines and endings to put it all together? I don't really have anything else. Like even one of my favorite games of all time, Xenogears. There you go. Xenogears anime. The original story that he wanted to tell, though. Don't just adapt the game, because he wasn't able to do everything that he wanted to do with that series. I would love to have an anime, the full original story.
He's one that he's made such a massive just world involved with all those, because as far as I can tell, they're all interconnected.
Yeah, they all have that same little monument.
So it'd be that would definitely be.
I'm glad that he's finally where he is at now. I was talking to Ira about that. It's like, I'm glad that he's at where he is now. That finally Xeno itself is getting popular, because every time he tried to make a storyline, the company they work for cut him short. Again, the original Xenosaga or Xenogears, the PlayStation game, it was supposed to be like, I think he said like 4 discs or something like that, and they cut him off, and he had to kind of just cut off the ending. Then when he did Xenosaga, that was supposed to be, if I remember correctly, it was supposed to be 6. They were going to do 6 Xenosagas. They cut him at 3. And so finally now Xenoblade is actually getting popular, and he's able to actually do what he wants. So now he's able to do his whole story, and it's like, and you can kind of see that, because I mean he's got a little complicated story going on there, and it all kind of interconnects. So good on him. Finally got his recognition.
I wonder if he'll loop around back to the other ones and incorporate those.
Xenogears and stuff. No, because that's Squaresoft. The ownerships are everywhere. Like the ownerships is like, it's not even just Squaresoft. I mean, the ownerships of all those properties are everywhere. I think Bandai Namco, I think, is Xenosaga. I mean, he could probably talk them into it. He probably has somebody, but there's just so many legalities and everything involved with it. I mean, I would love to have a Xenosaga HD collection, even if it isn't remade. But I think he's just so focused on his Xenoblade. Like he's doing good. Keep going. I mean, yeah, I would love to have them remake all that stuff, but I just know they're not going to do it, because it's more profitable to just keep going forward with the new stuff. Well, yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Is there anything else? That's a quick one. Well, that's an easy one. Death says, I'm sorry. Earlier was Gudako. I don't know why I didn't say his name. Sorry. Death says, have you ever gotten interested in a new hobby because of anime? For example, after I watched Sound Euphonium, I started playing brass again. Sorry, bass. Brass. Again, after a 10-year break. I I've had times where I wanted to get into swimming again. Biking's another big one. Just watching anime and stuff like that. So I can definitely see like hobbies pushing you in that direction. My initial thought when I read the first lines of that, I was like, oh, he's talking about like, yeah, I got into video games. No, technically, video games got us into anime for the most part. Because things like, for especially like, I think Final Fantasy VII literally sparked off the interest in Japanese media and anime and stuff like that. So edgy, spiky-haired boy. What is this Japanese stuff? Anime. It looks like Cloud. Let's watch this anime thing. I think it definitely kind of sparked that interest in Japan media. It was so successful. But yeah, I've never stuck with anything though. That's the problem. Like, yeah, it gets me interested in hobbies, but I never stick with it.
I wouldn't say for sure yes, but I definitely have had things spill over. So I mean,
Did you clean it up?
Yeah, it usually does make a kind of a mess. The only problem is it takes a little bit of time to clean it up afterwards.
Was it sticky?
Yeah, sometimes.
Huh.
Wait, that just went the wrong direction. Make sure you erase that.
What are you watching? What are you watching, Chris?
No, it does spill over into life once in a while.
You have to say it again.
Yes, I have to say it again because I was trying to say something. But no, I don't know that the hobbies will always go too far. I mean, like, for those who have not, we have not talked about it yet. I don't think we've ever talked about it. I do really, really like billiards. Death Billiards was like fantastic. I really loved it, but sparking those, I used to be really heavy into cards, and so I would play. I did like the idea of
We Cross
and stuff like that.
Get you back into Magic.
No, it didn't. But I definitely did get into Tanta Kyori. I really liked that.
You bought it or you got into it?
I got into
those boxes were sitting there for a while.
Those boxes are sitting there. I got all the other 4 when my mom bought me the main set. I'm glad she didn't actually look into them. No.
Well, yeah, typically whenever somebody buys you a gift, they don't open it up and start messing with it. I mean, yes, I think it happened back when we were really young because they want to make sure the toy was working, but yeah.
But I did get into the
I mean, I had the same problem.
game.
Like, I'm like, she's like, put stuff in your Amazon wish list, and I'm like, oh look, Immoral Guild's on Amazon. She might look at the back. I just don't want to have that conversation on Christmas. Is all I'm saying. I don't care what she knows what I watch. I just don't want to have that conversation on Christmas. That's the key thing. She's like, here's your gift. You open it up. And she goes, what is that? Oh, you got the wrong one. No, it's a wrong listing. I'll send it back. You have the gift certificate thing right here. Anyways.
But yeah, cards, I did get into cards a little bit, but it wasn't enough to kind of stick there for very long. But now, games, by far. If any of them are an actual crossover, it's probably going to be games. And you get this kind of random hankering. I really, really want to play this after watching something over here. So
yeah, I just realized like OBS is partially blocking some of these names. There it goes. That's weird. Axel Need 98. I want to read this one because it's between the two, and I feel like they're going to think that I skipped them on purpose. As you liked the One Piece live action, it's pretty actually cute to what we're talking about. Would you would that mean you would get into the manga and maybe the series of maybe have a series of you slowly going through it? Okay, there. Okay, I read that wrong. I answered that earlier. Yes, when the new One Piece live action or the new One Piece anime comes out, I will definitely cover it. I'm just not sure how YouTube is going to handle, or at least Toei is going to handle YouTube. I might be like just me talking on the camera and talking about it. But yeah, I would love to. I love to cover it. Slowly. 1 episode a week. Unless they do a full dump. Could you imagine that? One Piece on Netflix. All 1,000 episodes by Wit Studio. Coming in 2035. Mark your calendars. Full dump. 1,000 episodes. I could totally see them doing that. That's what's scary. I could totally see them doing that. Anyways, thanks Gudako, Death, and Axel98. But yeah, we're going to call it there. It was a fun episode. We actually had some really fun discussion with these news bits. I think that's mainly because it's 3 months worth of like just all the biggest news. Besides things like Ubel Blatt, I just wanted to talk about how super lewd that's going to be.
Yeah, the only thing that I got out of it was talking about digital versus.
You just went off on Microsoft. I'm like, can we reel it back into anime? Anime thing over here, Chris? Can we talk about the anime thing over here? It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure people enjoy it. But anyways, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion on podcast episode. Next week, I don't know. I need to get with Ira to find out how he is on the anime awards for the Otaku Spirit Discord. Probably should to do that soon. I didn't want to rush him because he's got like a lot of info to go through, and I'm like, just take your time. Nobody's in a hurry. As long as you get it done before Crunchyroll does, otherwise it'll make us look bad. Mm-hmm. I'm just joking. Ira, if you're still working on it, just take your time. He's like at work and he's got his stream he's trying to do and everything. He just got partner and everything. I'm like, just
Ira, just make sure that you get it done before next year's. I'm not paying you, so
just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, just make sure that you get it done before next year's. That's probably for the best.
No, we'll do it. We'll do a double up. You have like most people do the anime of the year the first month. You have people that are literally doing their anime of the year December 1st of the year of it. They're picking their anime of the years. Mm-hmm. You have some people that are like us, like literally when the year ends, it's like, I got to get it done. I got to get that video done. I got the podcast. We're doing the deliberations. Then you have like, everybody's joking about how it takes Crunchyroll a year and 3/4 technically to address shows that long ago. Like Bocchi the Rock was fall of that previous year, and now we're in 2024, and we're now finally talking about it and putting in that awards, and that's got a joke. But let's one up it all by having 2 years at the same time.
2 years at the same time. There you go.
And not that we're going, let's put 2 years against each other. No, we're just going to talk about both of them in a row. Anyways, joke dead. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys will enjoy listening and watching if you're on YouTube. Hope you guys enjoyed as per usual. Again, we're at talkingspirit.com. It's where we've got all of our links, social media links, ways to get a hold of us, ways to support the channel, Patreon, tips, links. If you're on YouTube, we have memberships and super thanks. Thank you guys so much for your guys' support. It means so much to us. And until, I almost did it again. Not Mushoku Monday. Until next time, y'all take care.
Os.